Paltrocast.
Good day for you so far?
Okay. Yeah. So far, so good. Yeah.
Well, set is the new record. I have a feeling you're going to soon be a 17-time Grammy winner and what a 58-time Bluegrass award winner from this album. But when did you actually finish it?
I finished it in January of
Oh,
this year, and then I had to take off to Scotland right away to go over for transatlantic sessions, and that then at that point I had to put it in my mastering engineer's hands and go, well, okay, here you go. You know what I like. You know how I like to do spaces between songs and things like that, to make sure the listeners had time to sort through the ending of this song before the next one starts, things like that. And sometimes you don't want to give them that time to think about it. Just bam, another song.
yeah.
And those things are important to me, things like that. So it was when I had to leave the country. I have this amazing mastering engineer, and we've done so many records together. He kind of knows what I'm after. So he did an excellent job. And now I'm just waiting for one little thing. There was one little glitch on one of the LPs, because I really designed this whole thing to be a record, like a lacquer record. Uh, one of those big black things you can't put in a CD player. And
Yeah. That takes up a lot of shelf
to
space.
the younger people, uh, don't try to fold it and put it in there. That doesn't work either. But yeah, there's one little thing, one little glitch that I'm waiting on, and hopefully tomorrow that will be gone, and this will all be history. I've been signing record covers like crazy, like they're going out of style. They may be going out of style. But they've come back. They've come back into style, actually. Records outsold CDs in the last 2 years.
Exactly. Well,
Wow.
kudos to you in not only getting that album done, but you were in England last week and you're in Utah in a couple of days. So it doesn't stop on that end either, because still all these years later, sometimes you're the solo artist, sometimes it's union stations, sometimes it's sessions. You've been prolific all these years later, but when you're playing live, is the set list the same everywhere, or do you have to customize it towards certain countries based on hits elsewhere?
I do. I customize it depending on where we are. We have one sort of set list that we, like drag out the hits, and that kind of thing really helps. And like I just came back from the UK, and there were a lot of things that I said and did that kind of probably just went like, straight over their heads, because you forget sometimes, all the vernacular, all the things that we say that are coined phrases that may not be understood by them,
Mhm.
and so you kind of have to keep that in mind, and keep things kind of straight ahead for the time being, until you kind of investigate each other, know more about each other, and then you can start dropping the coined phrases.
I think it goes both ways. What you're saying makes
Oh,
sense on one hand, and then the other hand, Marty Stewart is going to dress like that wherever he is in the world.
that's right. That's right. I mean, he's going to go. I've never figured out how to tie that neckerchief thing that he's got going on there. I'm going to have to get some lessons, maybe during the Earl Scruggs Music Festival while we're all down there at the same time on Labor Day. Marty can teach me how to tie the neckerchief.
Yeah, three
Johnny
nights at
Johnny
Earl
Cash
Scruggs.
style. What's that?
3 nights at the Earl Scruggs Festival. Did I read that correctly?
I'm the host of the Earl Scruggs Festival, and you know, let's try to figure out how that happened. I'm a dobro player. I mean, and he this is a banjo legacy, but you know what? I finally said, if it wasn't for Earl Scruggs, none of us would be here, and because I loved the guy so much, and did play with him a lot, and that was like, you know me, if I was 12 years old 16 years old, and somebody said, "Oh, you're going to get to play with Earl Scruggs." I was, "Yeah, you're no way, man, no way that'll ever happen." But I ended up playing with Lester and Earl, but not together.
Mhm.
And most of the Foggy Mountain Boys, except for Jake Tulloch, I've brushed shoulders with. So it's you never know. You never know. You might be some little kid out there wondering, how you can meet one of these people, but it's very possible that it's going to happen. Bluegrass is that way, but bluegrass people are a little more what do you call it? I mean, we're more available to
Accessible, I would say.
accessible. That's the word I was looking for. But it's it's a kind of it's that kind of music. It came from that kind of place, where people were just neighbors and played on porches. I mean, that's how it started. So fortunately, that part has kind of stuck with the music. The performers and the audience are close, and like you say, we are accessible, so they can kind of ask us whatever they want.
So
And
everyone pigeonholes you to country and bluegrass, but the single on your new record is a great Beatles cover. Were
yeah,
you ever a hard rock person, Beatles aside?
no, never a hard rock person. I kind of stopped. I loved everything. I was always looking for a country element, I guess, into whatever I was listening to. And when it got to Ted Nugent or something, I wasn't interested. But I loved the Allman Brothers, in listening the things that I listened to when I was a kid, because I lived in northeastern Ohio. I was close to Cleveland,
Hmm.
and so many rock stars have come out of Cleveland and
Yes.
Ohio in particular. Joe Walsh, straight out of Cleveland, James Gang, all of that. And so many great musicians from up there, and they're still showing up here in Nashville. We've had collections of people get together, and some paper, a newspaper would come down from Ohio and take pictures of how many Nashville people are actually from Youngstown or from Warren or from that
Oh yeah.
part of the country. And it was like in the 20s or 30s, when we all got on this, out in this lawn to take a picture. It was surprising. And we were all scattered around this main area just south of Cleveland and toward the PA New York line. A lot of musicians of all genres,
Yeah.
polka, polka included, and Jimmy Sturr, Frank Yankovic, all those guys were right out of there, and used to see them on TV on Sundays in Warren, out of Cleveland radio stations. But I was listening to radio stations out of Cleveland at night and hearing everybody, Clapton, the Beatles, the Stones, everybody, and listening to that at night. But I woke up to Flat and Scruggs every morning. So I spent my life trying to combine all these musics into one, and slowly getting there. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, speaking to what you just said about Ohio, I mean, Nine Inch Nails, Devo, so many bands have
Yeah,
the Ohio
Akron
roots.
was another place. Akron was Devo, Chrissy Hine, uh, uh, Black Keys,
Yeah.
and more, and plenty more.
And for
Uh,
some reason, Ian Hunter, even though he's British, is forever associated with Cleveland.
yeah, that's okay. It's nice to have a choice.
Yeah.
Oh, another country heard from back here. Yeah, my wife's out, so I'm in charge of the dogs as well.
There you go. Well, again, you're going to be in Park City in a couple of days at but it's basically an amphitheater band shell. Yet you did Red Rocks with String Cheese Incident. Does it get kind of confusing to know like jam band tonight, bluegrass tomorrow?
I just adapt to whatever situation I find myself in. That's part of what I learned from being a session musician for 15 years, of just going to the studio every day and you show up, you hear a song you've never heard before in your life, and
Mhm.
you're supposed to perform it better than anybody ever will again. And and you put this, you have to be fast and you have to be creative. But you also have to honor the song, and sometimes it got to where I wondered if I had just played this song for some other artist, the week before. I couldn't remember. Things were starting to run together a little on me.
Yeah.
And just my luck, Alison Krauss called it the very perfect time, right when I was about to reach burnout, and drug me out on the road with the band, and it was the most refreshing thing that had happened to me in years. So that's when I joined Union Station, was in '98. But I had just gone through that week that she called me to join the band. Was also I was producing a band called the Lonesome River Band. It's a bluegrass band out of Virginia, and they
Mhm.
were here, and a tornado came through Nashville and just right through the neighborhood we were recording in. And we kind of hunkered down in the basement, waited for the thing to go over, heard the chimney fall over on top of the house, and then went outside, and it was looking around. It was like in the Wizard of Oz when it changes from black and white to color. I mean, the sun came out. This tornado came through. The sun came out. I went outside, and there were houses sitting, the other way on their foundations than they should be. It was like, what the hell just happened? But experiences and in music and recording, it's all part of it. But
But ironically, to rudely interrupt you right there, Alison Krauss is
please.
synonymous with the Twister soundtrack. So it sounds like there's a lot of
Oh,
tornadoes there.
maybe that's it. That's what happened. She calls and the twister arrives. Yeah.
Exactly. So
What's
it's
going to do about this new movie? I guess it's all new music. I don't know. I'm really looking forward to going to flying out to Salt Lake tomorrow, and then getting on up to Park City and playing with the guys up there. Uh, I played in that same stage a few years ago. I was there with Allison.
Mhm.
We could see this huge storm coming behind the audience, this big purple mass that was just going to explode, and we knew we had about 20 minutes. So we did 3 or 4 songs, and then it was like, okay, you've got 15, 20 minutes to find shelter. And some people were going, no, rain or shine. And we're going, not for us. We're leaving.
Yeah.
So we got up into a dressing room, and the storm is just pounding away outside, and people are still shouting rain or shine. I couldn't help them. But Bill Murray knocked on the door. There was a knock on the door. I opened the door, and it was Bill Murray, and he came in, and I said, "Would you like a glass of wine?" And I just acted like I'd known him all my life. And he said, "Let's see, I'm driving off the mountain." Yes. And
That's yeah.
it Park City is a great place, man. It's a place to go, and it's like Disneyland up there. They've got a little bit of everything. And ski resorts don't look so good in the summertime. They look better with snow.
Well
Covered
said.
in
Well,
rocks and the dirt.
well, glad you're getting to go there in a day or two. So I have two stupid questions, and then I'll let you go. Are you ready for the stupid questions?
Yeah, I like stupid questions.
One of the greatest rock producers of all time is Jack Douglas. Did you ever accidentally get any mail or offers for Jack Douglas?
I never did. No, and I would like to, because I know he spent a lot of time with John Lennon. So it would have been a good conversation to have. There was another Jerry Douglas, though, who was getting my checks for a while. Uh, and he was on the Young and Restless, and he died. They killed him off on the show, and then he really died. But they kept bringing him back as the ghost of, and I was wondering, where's this money going? I know this should be some more, there should be more than this. And I had some people dig in and they found out that the checks were going to a different Jerry Douglas. And I did okay, but it would have cost me money to get the rest of it, so I just left it alone. I doubt he even knew that it was happening. The other guy, being an actor in a soap opera, he just had some guy filing his checks, just put them in the bank.
When you have two first names, inevitably it's going to go to the wrong person. That's my experience.
Yeah, okay. Does that satisfy the stupid question number one?
Yes, I would say you ace that one. And then the second one is, your studio session credits. Last time I checked, it was over 1,500 records. For all I know, it's over 2,000.
Yeah.
And I love speaking to studio cats and, Lukather and Lee Sklar, all those kinds of people. But they seem like the Russ Kunkel, Lukather, Sklar, they seem to play on each other's records. But did you ever get it roped into a Lukather session?
Not a I met him at the Sportsman's Lodge many years ago in LA, and we were having, it was a breakfast place where John Wayne might walk in. It was just a hotel that was known for its friendly staff and had been there forever, and all the actors had come in there for breakfast on their way to work. And but Lukather came in one morning. Trying to remember who I was there with, Emmylou Harris, I think. But it was just one of those places where musicians like actors would meet for breakfast in the morning. And Lukather comes in, and so we talked. We had good conversations. Yeah, I'd love to play with him sometime. I never have, but I've been close. I've seen him play, and and then for a while, I guess Lee Sklar was out with Toto for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was kind of surprising for me when he showed up backstage at a gig that I was doing. And the whole band had just come in from Iceland, and I don't remember where we were, but he said, "Yeah, we just got in from Iceland. I'm playing with Toto." And I went, You're playing with Toto? Cool." David Hungate would be proud. He would back that. And now I saw both Lee and Russ out with Lyle Lovett when I was in Telluride this year, and what a show, man! Those two guys, what a tag team! You can't lose. That's the wrecking ball right there. The wrecking team. They're the new one. I mean,
the immediate family documentary both did them really well, but a follow-up to the Sportsman Lodge thing. So as a
yeah,
New Yorker, I didn't know about Sportsman Lodge until earlier this year
yeah.
when David Lee Roth from Van Halen out of nowhere just came out with these totally angry podcasts that were criticizing everyone related to Van Halen. And he was talking about how when Eddie Van Halen split with his wife, he basically moved into the Sportsman Lodge at that time. And I didn't realize how it was this haven of road crews, adult film industry people, and session musicians and all that.
Yeah. It's right on the edge of right on the edge of Hollywood, right there, West Hollywood, and it's just sort of a good launching pad, into your day to go in there. I don't know if it's like that now. It's sort of turned into more uh, of a vacation spot for people from south of the border, and so it's changed. But I've been there before when I was doing overdubs on records and had Pro Tools in my room, but it would have to wait until they finished working on the swimming pool to where I could start recording in my hotel room. But I've played on lots of people's records in the Sportsman's Lodge in my, engineered and did it all myself. And it's strange how things end up. The first time I stayed at Sportsman's Lodge was I went out to LA to play on Emmylou Harris's Roses in the Snow.
Mm-hmm.
One of those records, really when she really dipped into traditional country music, right? And And they just said, come on out to the sport. You go to this place called the Sportsman's Lodge. Everybody knows about it. And it was like, cool, yeah. And right away, I went down to breakfast the next morning when there were all these bit actors in there that I'd seen on TV. I knew who these people were, but I didn't know their names because everybody, they were all just kind of sitting there. It was like home base for them
Yeah.
before they went to work. It's in a really interesting place.
So it sounds like I should be
Highly
visit
rated.
Park City and the Sportsman Lodge in the social media of this article. But the bottom
Yeah,
line
right.
was,
Yeah, and we can include Denver in that. I go to Denver to play the Paramount, which is one of my favorite places to play of all in all the world. And I was just in Denver for Red Rocks with String Cheese.
Mhm.
So yeah, one year, a couple years ago, it was last year. Uh, it just kind of lined up. I was going to Rocky Grass in Lyons, Colorado, to play with the Earls of Leicester with my band,
Mhm.
and we were playing on Sunday, and I found out that Little Feat was playing Fiddler's Green on Friday, and Tedeschi Trucks was doing a 2 or 3 night stand at Red Rocks.
Mhm.
That this is the trifecta for me. I'm going to play with all 3 bands this weekend. They're all right there around Denver. So I went out and played with Little Feat the first night, and then went out and then went on to Red Rocks and did the show with Derek and Susan. And it was just great music weekend, man. It was like all the stuff I love. I really love slide guitar, electric slide guitar, and I'm out there with lap steel, just going crazy with those guys, with Scott Sherrod and who's a great slide player now with Little Feat, and boy, they sound good.
Yeah.
And then moved on to Derek and Susan, and it was I was so happy when I got to the Bluegrass Festival. It was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this now. Yeah, I can do this. But bluegrass music allows you to do that kind of thing. It allows you to go into different genres of music easier than it is to come from the other direction to
Mhm.
bluegrass music, because bluegrass music is so it's so geographical, and plus it's a very physical music, and you're playing mostly acoustic instruments, and to make them louder you have to play them harder, and if you're a rock and roll player, especially a metal player, you're not playing harder when you get louder. You're just something there, you just turn a knob and everything gets louder. That's the difference in the two musics, how to deliver them. But bluegrass
Dynamics.
musicians find themselves in classical situations, Bela and Edgar. And
Yeah.
Edgar was first a classical musician, though, to be fair. And but Edgar has drug all the rest of us somehow into classical settings, and we did okay. We came out of it okay, unbruised most of the time.
Paltrocast.